In the early 1900s, China sought help from the United States in order to bring about federalism and American-inspired ideals. For various political reasons, the United States ignored the Chinese government's request for aid, and as a result, the government-controlled work units known as Danwei were formed.
Through the Danwei, the Chinese government set wages and benefits to include retirement policies, work hours, and working conditions. This created and controlled housing, childcare, schools, clinics, shops, services, post offices, and medical care for the workers. Power of the Danwei got out of control. This resulted in Chinese workers reporting prison-like conditions, which were enforced by armed private security companies, some of whom are U.S. based.
Conditions inside the factory were terrible as well. The factory owners even went as far as imposing excessive fines and penalties for lateness, illness, and negligent work, which sometimes amounts to the workers forfeiting their entire paycheck. Workers have been fined for laughing, talking in the workplace, loitering, or even getting water during work hours or failing to turn out lights. Restrictions and penalties have also extended to the number of times or length of time spent using the toilet in women workers who became pregnant. Child labor is a huge problem in China, and it is very clear that it is still going on today. The compulsory education law of the Chinese Constitution states that all children under the age of 16 must go to school and are not allowed to hold full-time jobs. However, the government does little to prevent privately owned industrial or commercial firms from hiring children. Up to 10% of Chinese children hold full-time jobs instead of going to school each year.
Some jobs that children are used for include toy production, textiles, construction, food production, and light mechanical work. Children have smaller hands and eyesight undamaged by years of labor, making them more desirable than adults for certain kinds of work.
One of the biggest questions asked about child labor is how could parents let their children work under such bad conditions? Sadly, parents of juvenile workers have little choice but to send their children off to work, as school fees increase beyond the means of most rural families. Education opportunities for rural children grow increasingly dim.
Some parents believe that school doesn't provide necessary skills that are immediate or realistic advantages that are necessary in life. Many poor families cannot afford the expenses of school, and the children go to work in order to support the family.
In March of 2003, there was a tragic case of 5 adolescent girls who appeared to have been poisoned by carbon monoxide smoke from a coal brazier lit in the confines of their cramped family sleeping quarters. This was just one of many instances where children's lives have been put in danger and children suffered because of poor factory conditions. Masanjia labor camp is widely known as one of China's most brutal labor camps, particularly for Falun Gong adherents. Materials made here include mainly costume jewelry, handcrafts such as butterfly fairies, vines, hats, boutonnieres, hairpins, and other items. It has been in operation since 1957, and some 36,000 detainees had passed through there in its first 4 decades of operation.
Falun Gong practitioners in Masanjia are reported to be subjected to beatings and torture, including electric shocks, force feeding, injections of nerve-damaging drugs, and anti-Falun Gong re-education sessions. Due to the prolonged mental and physical torture and extremely poor living conditions, some of the adherents detained at Masanjia have become disabled or are suffering from serious illnesses. Despite some detainees' ill health, the guards continue to torture practitioners and force them to work up to 20 hours every day.
On November 7, 2007, more than 405,000 children's products made in China, most of them toy cars, were recalled for containing dangerous levels of lead, a government safety group announced. The recall included about 380,000 pullback action toy cars and 7,500 dragster and funny cars. Other items include the Duck Family collectible wind-up toy, Dizzy Duck's music box, Robot 2000 collectible tin robot, and Winnie the Pooh spinning top.
In July 2007, Hasbro recalled 1 million Chinese-made Easy Bake Ovens because young children put their hands into the oven's front opening and got their hands or fingers caught, risking entrapment and burn hazards. This following the partial amputation of a 5-year-old girl's finger. The company received 29 reports of children being injured this way.
On August 1, 2007, Mattel recalled Sesame Street and Dora the Explorer toys because of lead levels in paint used. A few days later, 3.8 million toys based on Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends were recalled due to the same reasons as the previous toys. On August 14, 2007, additional Chinese products were recalled, including 7.1 million Polly Pocket toys, 600,000 Barbie playsets, and thousands of Batman manga toys, because they had exposed magnets that could fall off. The company also recalled Sarge die-cast toys from the movie Cars because of concerns over the levels of lead used in the paint on them.
On September 4th, 2007, Mattel recalled 800,000 Barbie doll accessories and Fisher-Price toys after tests showed that the paint used on them contained lead. Companies such as Bindies voluntarily recalled their toys after they were shipped with a toxic chemical that sickened children when it metabolized into GHB. All the toy recalls and lead paint scares are considered to be attributed to the terrible factory conditions in China.